Hello YouTube, this is Russian Tortoise here, and today's video is on basic Russian tortoise care. Because one of my subscribers asked me to do a video on just the general basic care of Russian tortoises, like what are the general steps that you have to consider and so on. So I decided I'd make this a little bit longer video to show you guys how to take care of Russian tortoises, and this is just the basic steps, nothing fancy. So if you really want to take really great care of your tortoise, this video isn't enough to watch. You need to do a lot more research. This is just my opinions, how I think you should take care of your tortoise, and just the basic steps. So the first thing is you need an appropriate terrarium or aquarium, whatever floats your boat. It should be at least 1.20 meters by 70 centimeters. So 120 centimeters by 70 centimeters. I don't know what that is in inches or feet, I'm sorry. And it would be best if it's not of glass. So as you can see, I get a minus point right there because my aquarium is made out of glass. The problem with that is tortoises, they don't know what glass is, so they see right through it. They think they can just walk through it, and they hit their heads. My tortoise, after 6 years of being in this, got used to it. 6 years? Yeah, about 6 years. Got used to the glass, and she doesn't run into it as much anymore. She still does it, and her nose is still kind of scraped. I'll show you guys. So if you look at her nose there a bit, it's still kind of like scraped. So that's the problem with glass aquariums. Once I move out, I'll make my own aquarium out of wood, my own terrarium out of wood, which she won't be able to see through. The next thing you need to consider is substrate, and there's a really big controversy about this, if sand is okay for tortoises or not. A lot of people say sand is terrible for your tortoise, it will cause congestion, so on, so on, so on. And they're not wrong, they're right. If you feed your tortoise on the sand, it's gonna cause congestion, because she's gonna eat a lot of the sand, and it's gonna just not work out too well for your tortoise. But as you can see here, I'm feeding my tortoise on stone. So if the rest of the aquarium is in sand, it doesn't matter because the tortoise doesn't eat any of the sand there. As long as you feed the tortoise on stone, everything's fine. Also, I think sand is a lot worse for juvenile tortoises than for adult tortoises, because adult tortoises are a lot bigger, and if they swallow a bit of sand, it's not bad. It just comes out at the end in the form of poop, like every other species of animal. And it's just for the little tortoises who aren't as big, they can't handle the sand as well. So for little tortoises, the substrate that I would use is either repti carpet, something like that, or cork, like tree bark or something like that. And yeah, but I've never had a little tortoise. I got her when she was already an adult, so sorry, I don't really know a lot about that. Next thing is interior design. Man, there's a bunch of chairs on the ground here, I'm sorry. As you can see, my tortoise's cage is not just plain. There's a lot of things in it, and a thing you really need to have is a hiding space for your tortoise. I have one in the warm end and one in the cold end. She doesn't like to use the one in the cold end as much, but if she does, she's happy that it exists. Oh, there's also a hiding place under there. So hiding places are very important for your tortoise to be able to draw back into, so that she doesn't get distracted, so that she doesn't get so stressed out by everyone else. So you need to have the hiding place so that the tortoise can't see you, so you can't see the tortoise. So for this hiding place, there's a bunch of stuff behind it. It's safe, like she can't see you, she doesn't get stressed out. This hiding place, I usually put stuff behind it, but sometimes I just like to look in there and she doesn't seem to mind as much, but preferably you should have something behind it. Before, I had the hiding space right there, and I had the paper behind it so she wouldn't get as stressed out. Next thing is you need a lot of things for the tortoise to climb on, because Russian tortoises love climbing. As you can see right here, Patilla just went up that ramp and climbed back down for no reason at all. That's because Russian tortoises love to climb. So for her, I have the ramp and the substrate box back there. She can also climb on top of that hut. she has this piece of wood right there, and she has that hut to climb on. Plus those rocks, but I don't really count them as something to climb on. That's more her feeding place, and she can just walk over those. So that's really important. Tortoises love to climb, so you need to provide them with a lot of climbing opportunities. You also want to have a water bowl in your aquarium. Sorry, I keep saying aquarium because I have fish. The correct term is terrarium for tortoises and land animals, but don't mind me if I say aquarium. I'm talking about the same thing. So you need a water bowl in your terrarium, preferably one that's big enough for your whole tortoise to fit into it. This one's really on the small side for Patilla because, as you can see, if I pick her up again, it's just barely big enough for her to get into it, and she really doesn't like getting wet feet. As you see, she ran out of there really quick. And what you want to do is refill that water bowl each day because water is going to evaporate, and if you see a lot of dirt in it, you want to replace it. So you want to clean it out, wash it out, scrape it out with whatever those things are called, sorry, and make sure that it doesn't have any soap residue on it because that's really going to harm your tortoise. Make sure it's clean and fresh, and just replace the water. Another thing I like to do is spray my tortoise each day with this water because I'm kind of a lazy person and I don't give her baths weekly, so I don't soak her weekly like I want to do, just maybe like once a month. So instead each other day I just mist her, and not just like this, I do it thoroughly so she gets soaked everywhere. I already did this today and I don't want to get her more pissed at me than she already is, so I'm not gonna spray her fully again. And then you also spray the huts. So as you can see, the substrate is kind of dark under there. Same under that hut. That's because I missed it under there, because you really want the it to be damp in the huts so that it's cool and damp, and that your tortoise it's better for the tortoise's skin, because my tortoise had problems with her skin where it was really dry, and now that I missed her each day and I missed the hut, it's getting a lot better. I also like having the different substrates in the aquarium, which is I think is really great for your tortoise, and you can see her climbing there again. So I have sand, which is the main substrate. I also have stone. This is really good for her claws because it wears down her claws, otherwise I would have to trim them each day. Plus, since she's also feeding on the stone, it trims her beak, which is the tortoise's mouth. You call that beak because she doesn't have any teeth and stuff, and it's literally a beak. But the stone also trims that, which is necessary. And I have the earth box back here. Originally, I wanted her to dig in that. I wanted to make it a box for digging because Russian tortoises really like digging. Like when I put new sand stuff straight in here, sometimes she digs completely under it so I can't find her. But I think the box is too small, so she doesn't dig in it. But still, she likes climbing up there, she likes walking around in there, and it's a different substrate, which I think is really important. Big selection of substrates. So, next thing is the lights. I have this little list written down here because it's a lot to talk about, as you can see. So for lights, you need one heating light, which is the light on the right side here, and one UVB light, which is the light on the left side here. The UVB lights provide rays that the sun would normally provide for the tortoise to be able to process calcium, which the tortoise needs to build its shell, because bones are made of calcium. So the tortoise, as you can see, the tortoise's shell is completely bones, so obviously she's going to need calcium to keep that shell maintained. The light on the right side, the heating light, is needed to provide the proper temperature for your tortoise. Now, Russian tortoises are desert species, so you want a basking spot that's about 30 degrees and the rest of the aquarium to be 20 degrees, and I'm talking Celsius right here. So as you can see, this is not in the basking spot. I can also see right now that you can't see anything at all, you just see a black spot. That's about 25 degrees, but right there on the ground it should be around 30 degrees, as this is a 100-watt bulb, and it gives you 30 degrees at 30 centimeters. And the ground is a bit farther away, but I didn't really want to buy a 125-watt bulb because it's just really expensive, the energy cost for that. My parents kind of didn't want me to. But a 100-watt bulb at 30 centimeters is like a safe bet to go, and I like to go with excuse me, I like to go with the Exoterra Intense basking spots because they're really good for desert species. Now if you don't have a desert tortoise species, obviously don't get this, get the right light that they need. Maybe it's a lower intense light and it's a jungle species, so then obviously don't get this light. This is for Russian tortoises right now. You also want to have, next thing on the list is food. So as you can see right now, I'm not feeding my tortoise the Exoterra grassland tortoise food right here because she just stopped eating that at one point and she wouldn't eat anything anymore, which really sucks because it's a really great food for tortoises. But it's okay because what I'm doing now, I'm getting her lettuce, and each week she gets a different kind of lettuce, and I spray calcium powder on that, which is, it's also a good diet for your tortoise. It's not as great as it can be, like the natural grassland tortoise food will make it a lot better, but as long as you put calcium powder in there and get her a different wide selection of lettuce, it's fine. Alright, I already talked about the misting. Now something you need to do every day is look for poop, because tortoises crap a lot, and there's two types of crap. One is let's say a turd is what it looks like. It's just a small brown piece of poop, let's say, and that is really easy to see and find. You just scoop that up and throw it in the garbage each day. And the other kind they have is this clear liquid with white batches of whatever it is in there, and that is not as easy to find sometimes because it's a clear liquid and it just colors the ground a little darker. But you also need to remove that every day. So what I like to do is I have a little bucket and a little shovel down here, and that's just a lot easier than walking to the garbage each time, and I don't drop sand all over the floor, which my parents really appreciate. So I would recommend you get a little bucket with a shovel to remove that stuff each day. With the lights, I like to keep a 12-hour light cycle because in the desert, they have a lot of light, tortoises, so you want to have a 12-hour light cycle, and you can have this on a timer so that they automatically turn on and off, or you can turn them on and off yourself. I do it myself. It's not exactly 12 hours each day, but since there's isn't like an aquarium where there's algae growth and anything, it doesn't really matter as much. The tortoise doesn't care, and it's not really a danger to their health. I also have a heating mat in my tortoise aquarium. This is not something that's essential, but I really like it, especially in the colder months, because I don't hibernate my tortoise because it's not necessary to hibernate your Russian tortoise. It is beneficial to their health, but if you don't have a space to hibernate your tortoise and you don't have a controlled environment, it's a lot more dangerous to try to hibernate them than not to hibernate them. So that's why I don't hibernate my tortoise, because I don't really have a space. I can't put it in the fridge, there's not enough space in there. We're a big family, it's filled with food, and we don't have any other controlled area that's cold enough. So in the winter months, I like to have a heating mat under there, because once I turn off the lights, my parents are very greedy with money. They turned off the heater in the house. It gets really freezing cold in here. So I like, in the winter months, I have the heating mat over there like it is right now, and it's just turned on 24/7. It's turned on all the time so that my tortoise at night, it can go on top of that heating mat and stay warm and not get too cold and die. So really, I think if you are in the same situation like me, a heating mat is really beneficial for you. Now the last thing I want to talk about is doctor visits. You really should visit a a pet doctor, let's call them, with your tortoise once a year. And this can't just be your regular, oh, I have dogs and cats type of doctor. He needs to be specialized in reptiles. It would be great if he's specialized in tortoises, but reptiles is generally good enough, because if tortoises are a lot different than cats and dogs, and the doctor needs to have a specific knowledge about what tortoises are about and stuff. So if you have an outside cage like me, just right out there, hidden behind the snow, chances are your tortoise is going to get some type of worms or bacteria or something in her stomach, which isn't bad, It's just you don't want her to have those over the winter months because they can weaken her. So you go to the doctor, they check it, they give you an antibioticum, they give it to the tortoise, and the tortoise is fine. So really once a year, you want to go visit the doctor. So I hope this video wasn't super boring for you guys. It was per request of one of my subscribers, and I think it was a great idea. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below.